Should you destroy your sister's legal career if you caught her stealing from your dead father's estate? She says I'm vindictive. I say she committed felony embezzlement. The accountant's email arrived 6 months after Dad's funeral. Subject line: Irregularities in Morrison Estate Account. I opened it with a sinking feeling. My sister Lauren was the executor of Dad's estate. She was a lawyer. Dad had trusted her completely to handle everything fairly. The email was clinical, professional, devastating. During routine review of the estate account, I've identified several concerning transactions. Total unexplained withdrawals, $85,340. These funds were transferred to accounts not listed as beneficiaries. I recommend immediate investigation. $85,000 missing from Dad's estate, transferred somewhere they shouldn't have gone. Lauren was the only person with access to the estate account, the only person who could authorize transfers, the only person who could have taken that money. My sister had stolen from our dead father's estate. I called her immediately. She answered cheerful, unsuspecting. "Hey, what's up?" I got an email from the estate accountant. There's $85,000 missing from Dad's account. Silence. Then, missing? What do you mean missing? Transferred out to accounts that aren't beneficiaries. The accountant flagged it as irregular. Where did that money go? Oh, that was estate expenses, legal fees, accounting fees, processing costs. It all adds up. $85,000 in fees for a straightforward estate? Dad's will was simple: house to be sold, money split between us and Mom. What fees could possibly cost that much? You don't understand how complex estate administration is. There are court fees, filing fees, professional fees. I had to hire appraisers, tax specialists. It's expensive. Then show me the receipts. Show me documentation for $85,000 in legitimate expenses. Another pause, longer this time. I don't have to justify every expense to you. I'm the executor. Dad trusted me to handle this. And I'm a beneficiary. I have a legal right to accounting, so show me the receipts. You're being paranoid. I'm your sister. I wouldn't steal from Dad's estate. Then prove it. Send me documentation for where that money went. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone. Lauren had just refused to provide documentation for $85,000 in estate expenses, had gotten defensive when questioned, had hung up on me rather than explain. She was hiding something. I called the estate accountant back. The executor is refusing to provide documentation for the missing funds. What are my options? You can petition the probate court for an accounting, force her to document every transaction. If she can't justify the withdrawals, the court can remove her as executor and potentially pursue charges. Kind of charges? Embezzlement, theft, breach of fiduciary duty. If she took estate money for personal use, that's a felony, and since she's an attorney, it's also a bar violation. She could be disbarred. Disbarred. Lauren had spent 7 years becoming a lawyer, built her entire career on that license, worked at a prestigious firm making good money, and she'd risk all of that to steal from her dead father's estate? I filed the petition for accounting, requested the court compel Lauren to provide complete documentation of all estate transactions. Lauren's response came through her lawyer. She was hiring representation, claiming I was harassing her, accusing me of trying to interfere with proper estate administration. Still no documentation, still no receipts, just deflection and accusation. The court ordered her to provide full accounting within 30 days, every transaction, every expense, complete documentation. Lauren missed the deadline. The court gave her an extension, another 15 days, warned that failure to comply would result in sanctions. Lauren missed that deadline too. The judge was not pleased, called a hearing, required Lauren to appear in person and explain why she couldn't provide basic accounting for an estate she'd been administering for 8 months. I attended the hearing, watched my sister stand before the judge and fumble for excuses. "Your Honor, I've been overwhelmed with work. I haven't had time to compile all the documentation. I need more time." The judge looked at her over reading glasses. "Ms. Morrison, you're an attorney. You understand fiduciary duty. You've had ample time to provide accounting. The court is ordering you to produce complete documentation within 7 days. If you fail to comply, you'll be removed as executor and held in contempt." 7 days later, Lauren provided documentation. Sort of. Bank statements showing withdrawals, but no receipts, no invoices, no proof of what the money was supposedly spent on. Just transfers out of the estate account, $85,000 leaving Dad's estate with no documentation of where it went or why. I took everything to a forensic accountant, paid out of my own pocket to have someone analyze the transactions. The forensic accountant's report was damning. Of the $85,340 withdrawn from the estate account, I can identify the following: $43,000 transferred to Lauren Morrison's personal checking account, $18,500 transferred to an account belonging to Lauren and her husband, $12,400 in cash withdrawals at ATMs near Lauren's residence, $8,200 in payments to luxury retailers where Lauren has accounts, $3,240 unaccounted for. None of these transactions appear to be legitimate estate expenses. All funds appear to have been diverted for personal use by the executor. My sister hadn't paid estate expenses. She'd stolen Dad's money, transferred it to her own accounts, spent it on herself, while claiming she was administering the estate properly. I filed a criminal complaint with the district attorney, provided the forensic accounting report, the bank statements, Lauren's refusal to provide documentation, everything. The DA's office opened an investigation, contacted Lauren's employer, the law firm she worked as an associate, informed them she was under investigation for embezzlement. Lauren called me crying. "How could you do this to me? I'm your sister. You got me investigated at work. They're putting me on leave. You're destroying my career. You stole $85,000 from Dad's estate. You embezzled money you were supposed to distribute to beneficiaries. You committed a felony. I was going to pay it back. I had expenses. I needed the money temporarily. I was always planning to replace it before anyone noticed. You stole from your dead father, and you're only sorry because you got caught. Please drop the complaint. I'll pay everything back. Just don't let this destroy my career. You destroyed your own career when you decided embezzling from an estate you were trusted to administer was acceptable." She hung up, blocked my number. I never spoke to my sister again. Lauren appealed the sentence, claimed it was excessive, that 5 years was too harsh for a first-time offender, that her disbarment was punishment enough. The appeals court disagreed, upheld the sentence, noted that attorneys who abuse positions of trust deserve enhanced sentences, not leniency. She started serving her sentence at a women's correctional facility, minimum security because she wasn't considered dangerous, but still prison, still 5 years of her life locked away. My mom blamed me. "You could have dropped the charges. You could have accepted the plea deal. You didn't have to send your sister to prison." She stole $85,000 from Dad's estate. She embezzled money meant for you and me. She violated every ethical standard of her profession. What did you want me to do? Pretend it didn't happen? She's your sister. Family forgives. She stopped being my sister when she stole from our dead father and lied about it for 8 months. Mom and I barely speak now. She visits Lauren in prison regularly, sends her money for commissary, writes her letters, maintains the relationship. I don't. Haven't contacted Lauren since she was sentenced. Don't plan to. The estate was finally distributed after Lauren was removed as executor. A court-appointed administrator handled it. The house was sold, debts were paid, the remaining assets were divided. My share, after Lauren's theft was deducted, was $167,000. Mom got the same. Lauren's share? forfeited. Went to pay restitution for what she'd stolen. She got nothing from the estate she'd embezzled from. The law profession where Lauren had worked settled with me and Mom out of court. They'd failed to supervise her adequately, had let her act as executor while employed as their associate without proper oversight, paid us $50,000 each to avoid a malpractice lawsuit. I used my inheritance to buy a house, something Dad would have been happy about. He'd wanted me to own property, build equity, have security. I think about him sometimes, about how he'd trusted Lauren completely, had never suspected she'd steal from his estate, had died believing she'd handle everything with integrity. He died without knowing his daughter was an embezzler. Maybe that's better. Maybe it's worse. I don't know. 3 years have passed since I got that email from the estate accountant. 3 years since I discovered my sister had stolen $85,000 from our dead father's estate. Lauren's still in prison, serves another 18 months before parole eligibility, unlikely to get early release given her lack of genuine remorse and the severity of her crimes. When she gets out, she'll be a convicted felon, permanently disbarred, unable to work in law ever again, unable to serve in any fiduciary capacity, limited job prospects, damaged family relationships, all consequences of her own choices. People ask if I feel guilty, if I regret reporting her, if family should protect family even when crimes are committed. No, I don't feel guilty. Lauren committed felonies, embezzled from an estate she was trusted to administer, stole from her own family, violated her ethical profession. She deserved to be reported, deserved to be prosecuted, deserved to lose her law license and serve prison time. Would I have preferred she'd never stolen in the first place? Obviously. Would I have preferred to maintain a relationship with my sister? Yes. But she made her choices. She chose embezzlement over integrity, chose theft over trust, chose personal gain over family loyalty. I just chose to hold her accountable. The legal profession has standards for a reason. Fiduciary duty exists for a reason. When attorneys abuse positions of trust, they need to face consequences, serious consequences. Lauren faced those consequences, lost everything she'd worked for, lost her career, lost her freedom, lost her family relationships. That's not my fault. That's the natural result of committing felonies while holding a position of trust. Some of Lauren's friends reached out to me over the years, asked me to write letters supporting her parole, testifying to her character, helping her get out early. I declined. Lauren hasn't shown genuine remorse, hasn't taken real responsibility, still claims she made mistakes rather than admitting she committed calculated crimes. Until she owns what she did, really owns it, she doesn't deserve early release. The Bar Association uses Lauren's case as a cautionary tale now, an example of what happens when attorneys violate fiduciary duties. Her disbarment is cited in ethics courses. Her name is permanently associated with embezzlement. She destroyed her own legacy, built a career for 10 years, then torched it by stealing from a dead man's estate. I rebuilt my relationship with Dad's memory, visit his grave regularly, talk to him about how the house money helped me buy my own place, how I'm doing okay, how I wish he'd chosen a different executor. I don't tell him what Lauren did, don't want to taint his memory with the knowledge that his daughter embezzled from his estate. Let him rest in peace, believing she'd handled things properly. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd ignored the accountant's email, pretended I hadn't seen the irregularities, let Lauren get away with the theft. She probably would have. Mom wouldn't have questioned her. The estate would have closed with the missing money unexplained. Lauren would have kept her career, her freedom, her reputation, and she'd have gotten away with stealing from our dead father. I couldn't let that happen. Couldn't let her crime go unpunished just because she was family. So I reported her, pursued prosecution, ensured she faced consequences. She's in prison. I sleep fine at night. Those two facts are connected. Lauren's husband divorced her during her second year in prison, couldn't handle being married to a convicted felon, took the kids and moved to another state, limited Lauren's contact with her children. More consequences of her choices, more relationships destroyed by her crimes. I don't feel bad about that either. She chose embezzlement. These are the results. What would you have done in this situation? Let me know in the comments. Like if you enjoyed the story, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to ScrollTales for more daily drama. The criminal investigation took 3 months. During that time, I also filed a complaint with the State Bar Association, provided all the same evidence. Forensic accounting showing Lauren had embezzled estate funds, her refusal to document expenses, her admission that she'd taken the money temporarily. Attorneys have a fiduciary duty to clients and estates. Embezzling from an estate you're administering is one of the most serious bar violations possible. The Bar Association took it seriously, launched their own investigation, suspended Lauren's license pending the outcome. Suspended, she couldn't practice law, couldn't work at her firm. Her entire career was on hold while they investigated whether she'd committed a felony. Lauren's husband called me. "You need to drop this. Lauren made a mistake. She's devastated. She's on antidepressants. She's talking about suicide. Is this really worth destroying your sister over money? She stole $85,000 from our father's estate, from money that was supposed to go to me and Mom. This isn't a mistake. This is systematic embezzlement over 8 months. She has kids. How is she supposed to support them if she loses her law license? I should have thought about that before stealing from an estate she was entrusted to administer. Actions have consequences. You're heartless." No, I'm holding a lawyer accountable for embezzling from a dead man's estate. That's not heartless, that's justice. The DA filed charges 4 months after my initial complaint. Multiple felony counts: embezzlement, theft, breach of fiduciary duty, fraud. Each count carried significant prison time. Lauren was looking at 8 to 12 years if convicted on all charges. Her lawyer tried to negotiate a plea deal. She'd plead guilty to 1 count of embezzlement, pay full restitution, serve probation, no prison time. The DA asked my opinion. "Your sister's willing to admit guilt and pay everything back. She'd be convicted of a felony, lose her law license, but avoid prison. Are you okay with that?" "What about my mom? She was a beneficiary too. Lauren stole from both of us." "Your mother has indicated she doesn't want Lauren to go to prison. She's asking for leniency." Of course Mom was. She was her daughter. She didn't want to see her child in prison even though that child had committed felonies. But I wasn't as forgiving. Lauren is a lawyer. She understood exactly what she was doing when she embezzled estate funds. She violated the trust Dad placed in her. She stole from her own family. She only admitted guilt after forensic accounting proved the theft. She deserves prison time. Then we reject the plea and go to trial. The Bar Association didn't wait for the criminal trial, held their own disciplinary hearing. I testified about the missing money. The forensic accountant testified where it had gone. Lauren's own bank records showed the transfers. Lauren's defense was that she'd borrowed the money with intent to repay, that she'd had unexpected expenses and had planned to replace the funds before final distribution. The bar panel wasn't sympathetic. "Ms. Morrison, you were in a position of trust. You had fiduciary duty to the estate beneficiaries. You took funds without authorization, without documentation, and without disclosure. You only admitted the truth when forensic accounting made denial impossible. This represents a fundamental breach of the ethical standards required of attorneys." The ruling came 2 weeks later. Lauren Morrison was disbarred permanently, could never practice law again in the state. 7 years of law school, 10 years building a career, all destroyed because she'd embezzled from our father's estate. Lauren's criminal trial was scheduled for 6 months out, but once she was disbarred, her mental state deteriorated. Her lawyer filed for psychiatric evaluation, claimed she was too depressed to stand trial. The psychiatrist found her competent, depressed, yes, regretful about consequences, yes, but fully aware of her actions and able to participate in her defense. The trial proceeded. The prosecution's case was straightforward. Bank records showing $85,432 transferred from the estate account. Forensic accounting showing where the money went. Lauren's personal accounts, luxury purchases, cash withdrawals. Lauren's admission that she'd taken the money temporarily. The defense tried to paint Lauren as overwhelmed, struggling financially, making poor decisions under stress, not a criminal, just someone who'd made mistakes. The prosecution countered. The defendant is an attorney. She understood fiduciary duty. She had access to estate funds and used that access to steal. She took money repeatedly over 8 months. She hid it from beneficiaries. She only admitted the truth when confronted with irrefutable evidence. The jury deliberated for 6 hours, came back with guilty verdicts on all counts. Lauren collapsed crying in the courtroom. Her husband held her. Her kids, who'd been kept out of the courtroom, were outside with their grandparents, having no idea their mother had just been convicted of felonies. Sentencing was 8 weeks later. I submitted a victim impact statement. Your Honor, Lauren Morrison was in a position of absolute trust. Our father named her executor because he believed she'd handle his estate fairly and honestly. He trusted her to distribute his assets according to his wishes. Instead, she embezzled $85,000. She transferred it to her own accounts. She spent it on luxury items. She lied to beneficiaries. She refused to provide accounting. She only admitted the truth when forensic accounting made denial impossible. Lauren is a lawyer. She understood exactly what she was doing when she embezzled estate funds. She violated the trust Dad placed in her. She stole from her own family. She only admitted guilt after forensic accounting made denial impossible. I'm asking for significant prison time, not because I'm vindictive, but because Lauren committed serious felonies while in a position of trust, because she's shown no genuine remorse, only regret about consequences, because she needs to understand that embezzling from estates has serious consequences. The judge reviewed the case, the systematic nature of the theft, the abuse of fiduciary position, Lauren's profession as an attorney, the impact on family relations. Ms. Morrison, you held a position of trust and you exploited it to steal from your own father's estate. As an attorney, you understood the gravity of your actions, yet you proceeded anyway. You took funds repeatedly. You hid your actions. You only admitted guilt when confronted with irrefutable evidence. The court sentences you to 5 years in state prison. You will also pay full restitution of $85,340 plus interest. You are permanently disbarred and prohibited from serving as executor, trustee, or fiduciary in any capacity. 5 years. Lauren would be 43 when she got out. Her law career over, her reputation destroyed, her family relationships shattered. All because she decided stealing from our dead father was acceptable.